Dingus, if you want to do a vote for us, please.
Sir. District 1, Mr. Jeter.
Here.
District 2, Ms. Glover.
Here.
District 3, Mr. Skeen.
Here.
District 4, Mr. Bricky.
Here.
District 5, Mr. Castle.
Here.
District 6, Mr. Manus.
Here.
And at large, Ms. Addington.
Here.
Chairman, you have a quorum.
All right. Has everybody been able to look over the agenda? I know we had one addition from Ms. Lana Mullins. We're going to put her at 8F if that's okay. And for auxiliary grant assist for DSS. Anybody else have any changes, additions?
No, I make the motion that we accept, or that we approve the agenda
I'll second that motion.
as amended.
Darrell.
Yeah. All right. So, all in favor of approving the agenda as amended, say aye. All right. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? We have two meetings, one from February 5th and one from February 14th. Have you all been able to go over those? Do I hear a motion to approve those as they stand?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right. Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Everybody was here.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
Appreciate it. All right. Now we are about to open up citizens' expression.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion that for citizen expression, that we give each citizen up to 5 minutes to speak to us. And also, we would like to have their name and where they're from.
Okay. All right. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
You got a timer?
I do have a timer, but I tell you what, I'll use my phone. It's a little bit easier for me. I can't learn that fast. Yep. All right. I got it. All right, so there's a little bit that I have to read, and then we'll get started with that. Rules for citizens' expression. Citizen expression is a point in the meeting when anyone who wishes to address the board may do so. If you wish to speak, please come to the podium and state your name, where you're from in the county, and or what organization you represent. The board may or may not respond to anything you say, but we will take everything you say into account when making future decisions. Please keep your comments concise and businesslike and respect the 5-minute timer. If no one has signed up to speak, we have no particular order. We ask that you take turns and speak your business. Today we have Ms. Peggy Tyson signed up to be first. Any action will be considered after we close the citizens' expression. With that,
Good morning. Peggy Tice, Snowflake Road. Well, Snowflake Road is a mess, for which all dirt roads are now due to the fact of the rain and the snow. They're washed out, and the dirt roads are so hard on vehicles and the buses, and we wish that the bus driver and the mail carrier and all the FedEx ups and all them could be here, but that can't happen. And we know that VDOT has been so busy with the snow and the rain. And VDOT did come through on Snowflake Road and cleaned out some drain pipes, in which that's been a first for a long time. And they could be we need a whole lot more drain pipes put in, and that would take care of, it wouldn't be a Band-Aid fix, it would fix it, longer. And we want to thank VDOT for fixing Addington Frame Road. They did a super job on that. I guess it's about 1.5 miles on the Addington Frame Road from one end of the blacktop to the other. They did a super job on that. And we hope that Mr. Kilgore can get us some more money for dirt roads. And now after complaining, after the devastation, of everybody going through, we are really grateful and thankful to have a road even to get from point A to point B if it is rough and rocky. And then another thing I'd like to, we need some more businesses is brought into Scott County for helping us with revenue. In the last little bit, I know of 2 businesses that's left Scott County to go to Tennessee, which is, I don't know if I ought to say the name, but Egan Construction and the Zoo is moving to Tennessee. And I think that's all I've got this morning, and thank you all for what all y'all do.
Thank you, Ms.
Oh,
Thomas.
keep Snowflake Road on 6-year plan.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good morning, Board. I know y'all just passed that 5-minute rule just now, but there were some things said last meeting that I need to address. I was the first one here. Normally, I'm the first one here because I like to speak and go to work. I debated on what to say to the Board today, but there were a few people that made it personal during last month's meeting, so I feel the need to explain a few things. Last month, Mr. Dingus, you was very curious as to where my property lays. My name is Bobby Powers. I'm from Dungannon, and my address is 5248 Hanging Rock Parkway. My daddy was Bobby Couch. I'm right above Danny Ray's in the curve. There's some old timers like him and Jack Compton could tell you about my daddy. He was a felon before he was 18 for making moonshine. He was a coal miner, and he built that cabin with a chainsaw. He wired it and plumbed it back in the 90s. 2 Scott County deputies came up and tried to serve him with a warrant. They came to the back door and said, "Mr. Couch, we have a warrant for your arrest." He said, "I see them bulletproof vests you got on, boys. You know they don't make one for your faces." Those deputies backed out the door and they left, and that warrant disappeared. In the early 2000s, a Coburn deputy was mad at another deputy inside the police station, and as he drove by, he shot the police station window out. It was all over the news. They had everybody out looking for him, and at all the mountain ridges and hollers to hide, that lawman came to my family farm. He came to a felon's house when he was in need. The law loved my daddy. Most bought moonshine from him, but the ones that didn't like him never disrespected him. As outrageous as those stories are, there's folks alive in both counties that know I'm telling the truth. And I didn't get up here and tell these stories to impress you. I wanted you to know an outlaw in the woods raised me, and you can't destroy me. I'm built different. I came to last month's meeting to criticize the board's leadership skills, to argue that a 9 a.m. meeting time dampen our liberties, not increase them, that every other county boardroom is just as empty as this one, but they still have them at 6 p.m. As I was walking away, Miss Addington uttered under her breath, "And some people should pay their taxes." Miss Addington, you showed your true colors that day. You showed the county if they go against the board, they could possibly be retaliated against. We've made several tax payments on that land. You are aware that my mom and daddy died the same day 5 years ago, next month. The state came in and claimed they owed $175,000, and my ex had to pay it to keep this farm in the family. There's a difference between couldn't and wouldn't, and any of us in this room could have had a tragedy to prevent us from paying taxes for a while. You showed the citizens of Scott County they better not fuss at you or you'll look into their affairs. I want every one of you to listen real close to what I'm about to say. You all could do your level best, take everything I own, and I'm still going to stand my ground. You can't destroy people like me. I'm built different. And the best thing you showed the audience that day was your cowardice. You didn't have the backbone to punch below the belt standing 2 feet in front of me, and the people of Scott County saw that. You didn't know it, but that was the best compliment of the day. And going forward for next month's meeting, I would like for you to prepare your best thought-out apology. I'm not asking for you to apologize to me, but to the citizens of Scott County. You're a county leader and held to a higher standard of ethics and standards. During the meeting, Chris Manis also stated that if I found fault with Frida, to blame the board, not Frida. I wouldn't want to be judged for another person's sins, Chris. Let blame lay where it falls. Frida also mentioned the 950 employees the county does payroll for, and acted like it would take another person to help do these accountings for that job. The accounting programs have 2 choices, hourly or salary. It's a click of a mouse. With the proper software, it should take no more time than it does now to complete. The county got roughly $10 million in COVID funding. Some of the board members voted for the pay study increase to be done by a law firm. That law firm decided it was best to give everyone 45% pay increases in different titles, and nobody questioned the ethics or the feasibility of countywide raises at such an increase. In the years we were struggling the most, most employees got 40 to 45% increase in salaries. Instead of wage increases this time, can we introduce caps on salaries? I had pleasant banter with Mr. Jeter last time, Danny and Eddie, and I enjoyed our candid talks before meetings.
I'm sorry, Ms. Powers, but your time is up. Can you wrap it up?
Last, I want to address Ms. Starnes' departure. If I had people wanting to see my accounting books, I wouldn't charge them my arm and a leg. I wouldn't email back and forth a half a dozen times with state code, delaying and prolonging the process. And I definitely wouldn't quit and walk away from a $127,000 salary my banner year, all because some got up and fussed once a month wanting to see my accounting books. I'd ask our lawyer what information had to be redacted, and I'd open the books to the public. If there's something to be found, the next administration will find it. They won't want an accounting error hanging over their head. And I send up a prayer asking for the next administrator to be a person with moral fortitude, one that's forthright, not things concerning county finances. I realize it's sometimes difficult being a good board member, but you agree to the responsibility of representing your entire district. I hope when the decisions get hard, you stand up for the many in your district and not the few that you might call buddies. Now, normally I say my 3 cents and go to work, but going forward, I'm going to take the whole day off on county meeting days. I'd hate to not be here in case Bill or Stephanie want to lean in for a kiss.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else?
Good morning. I'll introduce myself first, and then I'll hand you all a paper that we're giving out for what we're asking for donations to other businesses. I'm Miranda Keith. I do live in Nicholsville, and I'm on the planning committee. And first and foremost, I want to thank you all for your donation last year, because it was a big help. All our families got to do all the activities free and everything, and we've added a day. We're going to do Friday and Saturday this year, where we had only been doing Saturday because of COVID. So we're trying to build that Nicholsville Days back up, and with your all's help, we are praising that we get that. But this is what we send out to our local businesses, or businesses that we think that will help us with donations and everything. So now the other girls can introduce themselves.
I'm Jennifer Bear. I live in Nicholsville, and I'm here with Nicholsville Planning Commission.
I'm Courtney Farmer. I live in Nicholsville, and I'm part of the Nicholsville Planning Commission.
I'm Rebecca Devine, and I'm part of the Nicholsville Planning Commission, and I live in Nicholsville. And we do appreciate y'all's donation last year. Thank you very much for everything you all do. And we're here to ask for another donation this year, because we want our children the county to be able to come and enjoy Nicholsville Days for free. And it's a big thing, and we love to see the kids and their families to be able to come and enjoy that weekend. And we're planning on having more and bigger things this year. And with your all's help, it helped us a lot last year. And we're adding some new stuff, and we've got new ideas for this year, and we want to keep growing every year to have our community, to have more stuff. And we love our children in the community, and that's what we're based on, and family. And we just want to do more, and we appreciate everything y'all can do, and as much help that you can do for us. We appreciate that.
Courtney, can you elaborate on our leadership that you and I are involved in?
We are taking part in the Scott County Horizons program, Rita and I, and it's invaluable. It's been great. So far, we've had 3 classes, but we've come up with a lot of ideas to go forward, not only for Nicholsville, but for the county overall. So it's been a positive experience.
Last year, if my records are straight in my head, we fed 13 families that probably wouldn't have got to be fed. They would have probably just stayed there all day and not eat, and had the kids asking for things and stuff. Some of our food trucks even fed kids that they knew that, or lessened their amount that they would have charged them. And we always tell our food trucks that if it's a burden to you, we'll make it up as a planning commission and stuff. So we want our families to come in and feel comfortable about that and stuff. We have high hopes for Nicholsville. We know that there's a lot of change up there now, there's a lot of negativity, and we're trying to build that up and stay positive. So that's one of our goals also. Another reason that we're standing here is, and I'm not really sure exactly how this is going to go, but in our plan, we want to feed our first responders. We want to have them a big celebration. I talked to Wendell Burke, and he's like, get a Saturday. We want to feed them. We don't know if the Board of Supervisors could come in and help with the cost of that and stuff, because we're like, that's going to cost. We have the energy and we have the want, but we need the money. So those are the two reasons that we are here today. And those are, you know, two very special things in our heart.
We've added some new members to the,
Yeah.
we've got some new members coming on, and so we're doing pretty good. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
we're
And
excited.
And we're looking at auxiliary members, like they don't have to be on the board
Yes.
because of the policies and procedures, but we have auxiliary people that, some young youth people that's coming in, and other people that don't want to be on the board and vote and figure it out, they just want to help with the events. So
And
we're
it'll
trying
help-
to,
Yes, and it's going to help these kids to get their stuff for college and just a little bit on their college application, and we're going to do that for
Yeah.
them. And that will help these young kids too.
we had one college student come in when the Helena happened, and she came in and did a lot of work. We had a lot of donations come in of water and stuff like that, and we gave it out to our community. We had diapers and food, wipes, a mask, and you know, we had, one day we just had a little sign out there on, like, stop in and get masks or diapers and stuff like that. So, you know, we're trying to build up that need and resources in our community, and it takes a lot. But we do thank you all.
We do thank
Thank you all.
everyone.
Was there a specific amount that y'all were looking for?
What you have, we will take.
Yes.
We will use it, and we will be glad to have it.
How much did we give to Nicholsville?
I think 1,000 last year.
But we will appreciate.
We are
everything.
grateful for
I believe
anything
that
you can
was
give.
correct. What was last year was 1,000.
Yeah, and it was used really.
And I appreciate every one of y'all. Y'all do a good job up here. Thank you all so much.
We look at it too, times are hard. There probably won't be as many trips and vacations for the people of Scott County in general this year. So we're hoping, you know, our Nicholsville Day event, it gives people something to look forward to. Gives the kids, you know, something to kind of break up the summer, so.
Then you'll have the Dungan stuff, and you have the Duck, you know, so everybody's got something to go to this year.
And we're
instead of
adding,
big
I'm sorry,
vacation.
Vicki, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
We're adding we're having an elderly meeting through the Nicholsville Days, and they're gonna set up at the family, is it called Family Life
Life
Center?
Center.
And we're gonna have some storytelling or something, come in and talk to them and feed them. And then we're gonna have a cruise on Friday night, and so they can sit out in front of the Life Center and watch the cars go by as the old times was and stuff. So we're trying to include different age groups and stuff, and it just takes, yeah, it just, y'all bring your cars and enjoy it,
You're more
but, you
than
know,
welcome to
we're
come.
just listening to our communities, and those are the things they're wanting us to bring back and stuff. So we're gonna try to do a bluegrass band Friday night, and then the regular band on Saturday night.
We
So-
had a gentleman tell us last year that his mom doesn't get out a lot, and she would love to get out and just to come and sit and be able to watch this and do stuff. And we're wanting to help our elderly and stuff, so.
That's awesome.
We're wanting to help them too, as much as our children, so.
At one time, I was on the planning commission
Yes,
because
you
I worked at Pizza Plus in
Yes.
Nicholsville. And this thrills me that you've changed the date from Memorial Weekend
Yes.
to the next weekend of June the 6th and 7th.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And we get a lot of flack for the decisions we make. We take it with positive thoughts, like you have a right to your opinion, and, you know, and we get positive and negative, and we just listen to our community, because that's what you do as a planning commission.
I do have a question on the first responders. Are you doing the first responders in the whole entire county?
All the county.
And you're doing it during this weekend? or
No,
you
we don't
choose
know the
another
date yet.
weekend?
We're just
Okay.
trying to figure out if we're gonna have the funds to do it. And even last night when Courtney and I toured the vocational school, I thought this is the place to have it, because it's big, it's enough space for them to come in and talk. And I talked to Wendell, and I said, you know, it'd be a good time for them to give out awards if they wanted to, and that kind of thing. So it's just in the first stage, but I know to feed them, it's gonna take some money. So, we appreciate you all.
Yes, we do.
Good job, ladies.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Anyone else here for citizens expression?
But we'll be discussing this after.
Yeah. Any actions that we take are after citizens expression?
My name is Catherine Stallard. I live on Big Moccasin. In 1993, I started critter sitter and grooming, and I groomed and boarded in Wise County. In 2012, I moved to Scott County on Big Moccasin, and in 2018, I retired from grooming. My rotator cuff said that was enough of the clipping. But I have been the voice for the voiceless animals since I was big enough to drag a stray dog home and let my mom and dad deal with it till we could find it a home. I've saved, and it's not just dogs and cats, it's every animal. But I finally got my comprehensive animal law book for Virginia, and so when I come from now on, I might be able to tell you the code that is not being enforced. Just last, let's see, when I called, February 13th, I called animal control about 2 dog crates that had chickens or ducks or something out in the sleet. It was 21 degrees and sleeting, and he said he would check into it. Well, I never heard back, but I have to go by this place for my caregiving job, and nothing was ever changed. The crates are still sitting there crammed full of chickens or ducks or whatever. Little dog crates just sitting out in the field. But I have called on this guy. He lives in a camper behind Snowflake Mercantile store. And for months and months, he had a Lassie Collie chained up behind the store, and then it disappeared. And then he had a black, y'all know what a Walker Hound is. It's black, white, and brown. He had it for a few months, and it killed his chickens, and then it disappeared. And then now he's got like maybe a pit bull mix or a boxer mix, brindle, on a 3-foot chain chained up to a doghouse, and the whole front of the doghouse is open. And it's a real short-haired dog, and it's been there all winter, 7 degrees, 9 degrees, rain, snow, sleet, and hail. Can't even give it a bale of straw. He had goats. He had 2 mother goats and 2 baby goats, and I called animal control over that. They were all huddled together, and this was ice cold, and he said he'd check on it, and he said that livestock don't have to have shelter. Or if anybody knows goats, they don't like, even if it starts sprinkling the rain, they like to get under something, don't like to get wet. He had a little black miniature pony about knee high, the littlest miniature pony I've ever seen, little black. Had it a few months, and then it disappeared. Then he had 2 Great Pyrenees, and one of them disappeared, and then I saw 4 little white Great Pyrenees puppies. And on February the 6th, the remaining Great Pyrenees, I guess was the mother, got out of his fence and went to the neighbor, Katrina Repass, who always walks her little 10-year-old, or always did, walk her little 10-year-old Yorkie on a leash to go out to use the bathroom, and she stepped out on her back patio, and this female Great Pyrenees ran up behind her and grabbed her little Yorkie and slung him, and her husband ran out and was kicking the dog and finally got it off of their little dog and rushed it to Tim Rasnick's office in Duffield. This was on a Thursday evening, and Friday, the little Yorkie passed away. I mean, there's just, but anyway, I'm going to study this book and see what I can do. And at the last meeting, when Blakely, the teacher, Blakely Taylor, was here, she asked Bill Dingus about volunteers coming to the shelter, and he said they wouldn't go to work with anybody who's bashed them on Facebook. Well, when I post a picture on Facebook of a dog that's soaking wet in 20 degrees, curled up in a ball, with no shelter at all, and I have because I foster dogs for a few animal rescues in Charlottesville, Richmond, and so they would call dispatch down here. And that's the only way I could get that dog house put over where that dog could have a little bit of shelter. So I will continue to take pictures and post on Facebook, but I want to ask the board, if I am a resident of Scott County and a taxpayer, can I not go to that shelter anytime I want to? That it's open to the public?
I would think so myself. I don't see why you shouldn't be allowed that.
Okay.
Can you answer that, Bill?
Yes, certainly.
Okay.
If you want to go to the shelter as a citizen anytime, there's a difference than a citizen going to the shelter and looking for a dog maybe to adopt or to visit, than a volunteer that we set up and maybe have access to the shelter behind the scenes, or come in on weekends when county staff isn't there. And we have to vet those people and make sure that they are partners with us for what we are trying to achieve at the shelter.
But as a citizen, I can go in and
If the shelter's open, there's no reason for you
Okay.
not to be able to go to the shelter.
Thank you all.
Anytime.
Thank you, Ms. Town. Anyone else?
Good morning. I'm Kevin Barnett. I live at 116 Windover Road in town. And I'm here this morning to let you guys know that the Scott County Ministerial Association, Town of Gate City, Jenny's Mission Church, and a couple of organizations have come together to start a firewood ministry in the county. With Helene, there's a lot of tree damage and stuff around in the community. There's a lot of good wood that would be good for firewood. And with the way that electric bills are going, we do assistance where we help with that. I'm seeing a lot of people come in with elevated electric bills. And some of those folks are wanting to go back to burning wood. It's cheaper. But a lot of those folks are unable to get out and cut wood and stuff themselves. They're elderly and you know, they may be disabled, the people that we serve. And we're in need of getting a dump truck. We have delivered several loads of wood, and I'm beginning to see that the need is greater than what we're going to be able to meet with just a pickup truck on the weekend. So I'm here to ask if you guys would be willing to help us with that. We've reached out to some other organizations that are trying to raise funds to purchase a dump trailer to use for the firewood ministry. Now, they're not cheap. What I have found so far is they're around $5,000 to purchase from Oak Winds and trailer producers like that. And it's a real need. Right now, we've got an opportunity. The Lord has provided the wood through the disaster, but we want to clean up the county and help people who are in need. Now, you know it's fixing to be warm weather. We're going to come into summertime, and this is the best time to be collecting wood, cutting it up, getting it ready for the fall when the cold does come back. And these people won't be able to provide heat for their families. So we're trying to step in and fill that gap. Like I say, we're working with the town. They're letting us collect wood in the town, and you know, anywhere else in the county. I've been reached out by many different churches and stuff. Folks have the materials. We just need to be able to get out there and get it to the families who need it as quick as possible. If you guys could help us with that in any way, we would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Could you, sir?
Yes.
Is there any way that, got a card or anything, how we can contact you to?
Yes, sir. I do. I got a business card.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I hate to take up too much of your time. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anyone else?
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Sheriff Eads, Scott County Sheriff. I'm here to give you the year-end stats for last year and go through these. I will say the guys that work for the Sheriff's Department, you couldn't ask for a better crew. They're doing a great job. Even though they're real busy most days. Since March 1st, it's been really busy, but we get through it. We do the best we can and with what we have, and I like to let them know all the time that I appreciate what they do. But I'll give you these. This is Scott County Sheriff's Office reports the following activities for 2024. It'd be like the year ending. Scott County Central Dispatch received a total of 61,065 calls for the calendar year. Of these total calls received in 2024, 11,348 were dispatched to the Sheriff's Office. The total calls and protective orders was 210. Criminal paper served this period was 3,121 criminal papers served. 2,092 felonies, 1,029 misdemeanors with 480 drug charges, 33 DUI related charges. Officers issued 1,378 traffic summonses and was dispatched to 357 motor vehicle accidents. Civil process for this period was 3,974 civil process papers. There were 1,604 IVRs, that's the incident-based reports that we do, reported with 289 active, 77 marked inactive, and 484 closed arrests. The Sheriff's Office provided 1,933 and a half hours of courtroom security for 3 courtrooms. 1,328 hours of front door security provided. The Sheriff's Office conducted 105 traffic checkpoints. The Sheriff's Office had 276 out-of-state extraditions. We traveled 61,363 miles were traveled out of state for these extraditions. The Sheriff's Office processed 667 concealed gun permits. Also, the Sheriff's Office processed 688 fingerprint applications. And also the deputies unlocked 219 vehicles. And that was for that year. Any questions?
Thank you, Sheriff.
I do have some questions for you. Mr. Jeter, Larry Vickers and I visited with the regional jail and trying to see how it's laid out. And we found that there's 3 rooms for video processing, and which actually can be tied into the court system. What's your thoughts on the reduction? And they thought we could reduce the number of cases actually at the courthouse by 50%. Is that right? Or is that kind of, how would that affect the staffing of the courthouse if it was reduced live, actually had it videoed from the regional jail?
Well, that's going to depend on what the judge wants and what they like. We sort of, they tell us what they want, and we try to provide that, what they want. Are you talking about for moving some of that to Duffield that was discussed there at one time?
It would be the inmate would be there videotaped, and it would be actually received at the courthouse.
Right, but that's, I think, what the judge wants. If he wants them in front of him, that's where they bring them up. If they do it there, it would be great. I think they do some, I'm not exactly those numbers.
If it was reduced to 50%, how would that impact the number of employees that you would have at the courthouse?
It wouldn't affect it much because you still got to have somebody in those courtrooms.
No inmates there?
Well, there's more than inmates goes on there. There's regular court, cases that's gone, you don't have, you got to have somebody there. That's my job.
I know that you submitted your budget request. Did you ask for more people in your request, staffing?
I don't know if we did. You're talking about the
Sheriff's deputies.
Yeah, we have. I don't know if it's in this one or not.
Because last year, I know we learned that at times there's 3 people on night shift, 3 deputies. At times there's only 1.
2. We try never go to 1 though. It's 2. If somebody's off on vacation or sick, then there's 2.
Do you feel like you have a need for additional people?
Absolutely. We have complaints about not being in certain areas or patrolling. That's ongoing, but these guys still answer calls, do reports, go to court. There's always, that 4th person makes it where there's 3 on the shift left instead of 2. And that's my biggest worry, 2 on the shift is response time to that deputy needs help. If the troopers don't have anybody out after midnight. But yeah, that would be a great addition.
I was just thinking, and still we have to meet with some more people regarding the regional jail. But if the workload could be taken away from the court system, could that add more people on the street?
Like I said, the courts still operate the same. And on some days we have to have an extra person in there due to the inmates, mostly probation violation day is when there's several, then that's when we have to have more than the normal day. But we are always going to have somebody at the court to circuit court, especially on those days you're talking about. And that would help the time frame speed up the court processes, yes.
The other thing is something I sent to you earlier in email. I guess you received it regarding a case in Nicholsville. A gentleman from Nicholsville brought to my attention that his house was broken into in 2023, and he came to me in 2024 and said there was no investigative process that he was aware of. He tried to provide some evidence such as phone, cigarettes, a cigarette lighter that was left at the house, and according to what he told me, your investigator told him that they could not use it. And until I think the first part of this year that he kept the phone, and we addressed it with the Commonwealth Attorney, and your officer did go out and pick up the phone at that point, and I think was able to get some evidence off of it. But that's a year later. Could you comment on the investigative process?
I'll bet my captain of investigations, he would be more equipped for that situation, and because no situation is the same. And I'll let him speak with that. That'd be Captain Daniel Ross.
Good morning. I'm Daniel Ross. I'm captain of the Criminal Investigations Division at the Sheriff's Office, and hopefully I can answer your questions regarding investigative processes as it pertains to the case there as well. Obviously, we want to maintain the integrity of a case, and if it's in an active status, there's not a whole lot of comment I will be able to give on that, but I'll answer what questions I can on the processes and things of that nature.
The resident gave your investigator a Mid-Simon tennis register, provided some evidence. And according to what the resident told me, he cannot use it since there was not a official document that said he could retrieve those items. Is that how that works?
I don't want to comment on that specifically, but if a consent is given by a property owner or an owner of anything for that matter, we could take something into custody there. But again, to be very specific try to be specific on a case. I'm
not talking about specific, just general. I don't want to jeopardize the case. But if that information had been available in 23, that could have prevented someone from breaking into other houses. Because clearly, from what I've heard recently, the identity of the phone owner was obvious. And I did speak with your investigator that handled it, and was told that the investigator cannot speak with the resident in Nicholsville until they talked with the person who owned the phone. Is that
That's going to depend on the individual investigator, and not only that, the investigation itself. There's techniques, there's different strategies that we're going to deploy depending on the crime, the time frame, and things of that nature. There may be a situation where I would go to you to begin with as a victim to obtain additional information, whereas in another situation I may go to the suspect first. It just really depends on the individual investigation and how that evolves.
But typically, would an investigator go to the site of the residence where the crime is conducted?
It depends on the severity of the crime, the time frame, and things of that nature. We have an initial investigation that would take place. Normally, that's done by the road deputies. If they feel that it's a serious offense or something that needs processing, through photographs, or fingerprints, or DNA collection, they'll normally contact us. We'll send an investigator out. Follow-ups, again, that would depend on each individual situation as well.
I don't think an investigator's been to the property in almost 2 years, until they came by the other day and picked the phone up. And your investigator that I spoke with last week said that, like I said, the court could not do anything with that because, had to notify the person in jail. It just seems like a long, drawn-out process. And I was told that the case had actually been closed, was inactive and closed until he asked me to get involved. Why would that happen?
Cases are, there's different statuses of cases as we work through them. There's closed, there's several different types of closed, whether it's through the work we do through an arrest. There's inactive, meaning that we actually have no more leads to move forward. However, it's not closed. It could be reopened at any point in time based off of additional evidence, witness testimony, or sometimes by sheer luck. Those things could be opened back up. And then there's also the active side of it, and that means that we're actively pursuing leads, actively pursuing an investigation. So those are just kind of the way we process through them, the way we kind of keep counting of how we work through. If a case is inactive, it doesn't mean that it's closed, it's shut to the side. We have a substantial workload amongst our investigators. Sheriff talked about the need for more officers. You give me 10 more investigators and I probably still wouldn't be happy. We're completely covered up. However, when it goes to an inactive status, that's going to be shuffled to the back until something else comes up.
Well, it did come up again after we got involved, and it was obvious the phone was the key piece, which your investigator, based on the residents' comments, did not want to take it. And that was a year ago. Anyway, one other question I had. He did, and again, this is just one that I heard from the resident, so there might be other things too, but he was asked to come to your sheriff's office, I guess, to talk to someone. When he got there, he couldn't get in. Nobody buzzed him in. Is that, can you comment on that?
Okay, the sheriff's office is open during business hours, and after business hours, there is a phone that's adjacent to the front door of the sheriff's office with instructions on how to contact dispatch that would in turn contact a deputy of some sort. I will say this, that there has been conflict in information in regards to contact with our investigator, and in the case that you're regarding as well, there's been conflict in information that we've provided to you, and you're well aware of that. And I spoke with the investigator about that this morning as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure I follow you on that.
In regards to the meeting with the individual you're talking about.
So there's questions on, okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
I've got a question or two there. Back when I was running for public office, there's some people up there at gun gaming. The house had gotten broken into several times. Even the neighbors knew about it. I'll say a mile or so away. They knew the house and all. They even pointed the person out. that had been doing it. Now, the person's house has got broken into. They said they'd called several times, and I talked to them approximately 3 or 4 months ago. And they said that nothing had ever been done about that also. And have y'all aware of anything like that?
I'm not aware of it. If, I'll be more than willing to talk to anyone,
We will another,
yeah,
somewhere else.
absolutely.
But they told me about it, and I mentioned it to a gentleman that I was with, and I was kind of blown away. He knows more about it than I did. And, but now, I'd like to get with y'all, talk about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Anyone else for public expression?
And my name's Perry Carroll, and I live out Red Hill Road here, out the Sheriff's Road in Case City. I'll be very brief, but as a Scott County taxpayer, I want to thank, I came today, but I want to thank Supervisor Eddie Skeens for keeping us informed of county governance, encouraging us as citizens to be involved and participate in the county governance. I want to thank you, Mr. Skeen, for bravely representing all taxpayers in Scott County and inviting us to participate. I wanted to come today to thank you for that, because I saw the attack in the Scott County paper a couple weeks ago, and I want to come thank you as a citizen. Thank you.
Anyone else? We'll close citizens' expression. In the question of Nicholsville days, do I have a motion to give them the 1,000 that we did last year?
I'd like to make that motion.
Do I have a second? Everybody in favor say aye. Opposed? That's coming out of the contingency fund.
I would also like to ask, are they still here?
They just left.
For them to come when they've got a date closer for the first responders.
Yeah.
I would like for them to come back.
Yeah, I'd like to make that
Let us
a blanket statement for anyone that it comes to ask for money. Please have a specific amount, and please don't show us that you've been, going around asking from other places as well. We are willing to give to help the community, but we don't want to become everyone's piggy bank, if that makes sense. And if that doesn't sound too cruel, sorry. Let's see, and then, was there any other actions that we needed to take coming out of citizens expression? Dump trailer. Kevin, if you don't mind, would you mind, have you started to take up money for this yet?
I have.
Okay. Have you asked around from the towns and other organizations?
I have asked around from the towns.
Okay.
We've talked to Waterloo, Rutan.
Okay.
We've got individual citizens who have contributed.
Okay.
So we're in the process of getting there, but we've got a long way to go still. So.
Okay. Now, that $5,000, that was for the trailer.
For the trailer.
How much of that do you have?
Right now, we're in the process of getting close to $1,000 is what we're working at. So
$1,000.
Yeah, we're just getting there.
Okay.
One thing I'll be covering a little later in the meeting is something that it's called the PIP program, PIPP. Social Services here is assisting people with their fuel, electric bills. And I think that's kind of what you were talking about. And I do have, I was going to have a handout for the board, but I'd be glad to give you one if you want to take it with you. But Social Services here, and it can be 10% of their household income, and they freeze the electric bill at that point. So it might apply to some of your people. So I suggest you visit with them and kind of go over it. If you get a chance today, I'm sure they'd like to talk to you. But I do have this.
Thanks, sir.
Mr. Barnett, there's also a grant out there right now that's open for applications called the Cumberland Forest Fund that you may be able to get some funds, especially if you're mitigating some down timber. It's more of a conservation type fund, but it's for nonprofits and it's for the community. And we might be able to work a application that might fit that. So I'll send you, you got another card?
Yes, sir, I do.
Give me another card and I'll send you a link to that fund. And if you want to get with me, we can sit down and talk about how we might write a grant that would fit that fund and might get you some money for that.
Any ways you guys can help would be excellent.
Would you be able to come back next month and kind of keep us abreast on how much you've raised?
I can.
We can probably talk about it this month and see what we can do.
That'd be great.
If that's all right.
I really would appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Mr. Chairman, there was something kind of left over from the last meeting, and that was Mr. Berry in Fairview.
Oh yeah, Johnny Berry, talking about the Bunker Road. I've talked to the steak shop down there, and they've sent somebody through there to do some repairs and put some gravels on that, so that is in process. As far as the school system sending a bus out there, I haven't heard anybody say anything on that.
And the other thing was the 4-inch water line. Is he aware that you can't put hydrants on?
Yes.
4-inch, okay.
Yeah. But, so, sorry, from a PSA perspective, is there no way to get a 4-inch line down to the volunteer fire station in Fairview?
I didn't address that. I thought he was more interested in getting hydrants along the existing lines that were there.
Yeah, I think mostly what he was concerned about is the speed at which he could fill up the tanker truck that they
At the fire station.
in Fairview. Yeah, and it's very slow right now.
He was talking about that it was a lot slower and he had to travel so much further back
Yep.
to get to like a 6-inch
Yep.
to fill the truck up.
Yeah.
Has anybody contacted John and told him them was the reasons? Because I think he thought that he had a 6-inch line instead of a 4.
If you'd like to talk to him about the one line, I can get you his number if you'd like.
Sure.
Since you're on the PSA. Is there any other action that we need to take coming out of citizens expression? I think I covered everything. All right. All right. Well, then we'll move into unfinished business. Scott County Community Garden funding request. If you remember a few weeks back, they came asking for some money, and we kind of told them the same thing that we told you, Kevin, is that we'd like to see what all they could raise outside of the board, and they have come back with a specific dollar amount. Is that correct, Mr. Davis?
Yes, sir. Ms. Dixon contacted us requesting $735 for the community garden beds. And this amount can be taken from board tickets.
Do I have a motion to,
Let him finish.
At the beginning of the meeting, you had 38,000.
do I have a motion to supply the $735 out of the contingency fund for the Scott County Community Garden project? Does anybody want to make that motion?
For what project did you say, Mr. Manis?
The Scott County Community Garden.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
All right. Mr. Ricky makes a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Darryl Jeter seconds. Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion carries. 735 from the contingency fund. All right, we'll moving right along. We'll go to new business. That's the Scott County Library update from Shannon Stats. All right, we'll make do with it. Scott County Library update. That's Shannon Stats.
Good morning. I'm Shannon Stapey. I'm the director of the Lonesome Pine Regional Library. We serve Wise, Dickinson, Scott, and Lee counties in the city of Norton. I'd like to introduce some of my board members. You guys appoint 2 board members for our library board. They oversee our finances, our policies, everything day to day like that. I have Lindsay Fisher and Rebecca Scott. They're our board members for Scott County, and they've done an excellent job. I'm really pleased. And then the gentleman back here is my new branch manager. This is Jonathan Burchett, and he's here at Scott County now. He's brand new, not been here 6 months yet. I'm new as well. I've been here a year and a half, and I wanted to come today and talk to you a little bit about the library and the services we have. We get our funding through the counties and through the state library. And I guess a real general way to look at it is the counties provide our staffing and our building upkeep, like the cleaning supplies and the electric bills and water bills, that kind of thing. And the state library provides our programming and the things we check out to the folks. And that's basically how the programming works. I have a little presentation I want to show you. Oh, it works. One of the first things we did when I first started working here is a story walk. This is in the park, and it's permanent, and we change the story every 3-4 months. And the very first day we had a grand opening, as you will, and all the kids got a book. The story walk has been great for all ages. During the storms, it got some damage, but the county's worked really hard in getting it fixed back. I think it may be fixed back already, but you can see lots of different folks love the story walk. The Barter Theater brought the Velveteen Rabbit to the Carter Fold, and we were really proud of this. Look how well attended it was. And the library received its first Virginia Commission of the Arts grant for Scott County. We brought that in, and the Friends of the Library group and the grant and then some donations paid for this event. After the event was over, the actors actually did a question and answer period with the audience, and it worked really well. We're going to try to get another Commission of the Arts grant, hopefully in the next year or two, and bring a different play or a different arts type thing in. The lady and gentleman on the top are our president and secretary of our Friends group. That's Billy and Betty Egan. And the gentleman and lady at the bottom, Peggy, a lot of folks know Peggy at the library, she crocheted that rabbit, and everybody that came in got a little ticket, and we drew the name out, and they were the couple that won the rabbit. Talking about that rabbit, we have a great crochet club, and you can see we have little guys and we have older folks, and it's a big age group. And they get together and they do a thing for us called the Spinning the Yarn Festival. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in June usually we deck out the town in yarn. And this actually made the state library's adult services newsletter. I was so proud because usually it's the big libraries and the big cities that get picked for the newsletter. And here we are in Scott County in the rural area, we got it in the newsletter. So I was really proud of that. We bring in authors and musicians and just make the whole day festival. This on the right is our Friends group, and we did this thing called the Bridgerton Ball. And I really want to thank the community. Our communities in Scott County are great to help us. It's amazing what the businesses and the offices and the organizations do for the library. I'm just really proud of everyone. But that's our Friends of the Library group. And you can tell they went all out. Folks donated stuff for a silent auction. They had food. They had a queen of the ball. And they did this to raise money for automatic doors at the library. The library doors were hard to open, and you know, if an elderly folks come in and they had books in one hand trying to open the door in the other, it was really hard. So the doors were installed, and it was a huge success. They raised over $7,000 to get those doors installed. The thing that I'm most proud of as the library is our family time. We have children's programs, we have adult programs, we have family programs. And all those programs is a time where a family can come in for an hour. They turn their phones off, they turn their gadgets off, they turn the TV off, and they focus on each other for that hour. So that's what I'm most proud of as the library. On the left, we have Coffee Connection. This is once a week, and you can tell it's mostly our senior population, but anybody's welcome. They come in once a week, they have a cup of coffee, and they talk and connect to each other. On the right-hand side, we have Family Craft Nights. And this one is actually at Christmas, and it was family ornament making for Christmas. All these programs are free. This side is Family Paint Night and Family Bingo Night. Family Bingo Night is a big hit. And we also go to Mountain Empire Over Citizens Senior Connections, and we ask them what they want to do, and 9 times out of 10, part of it, they want to play bingo. So bingo's a big hit. We have Family Feud, and you can see they have little buttons just like on TV, and they had to buzz in, and this was a big hit. We've done it twice so far. This family called themselves the Fan Harvey Fan Club, and this side you can't tell, but it was Disney's Divas and Dudes. So they did a little name and everything. We had an Eclipse program back in April, and this lady is Miss Carter. She was actually one of my children's science teachers, and she is a NASA ambassador. Wonderful teacher, best science teacher ever. But she had the sun and the moon and the earth, and she let the kids walk around and show the audience how the eclipse works. Oops. We visit all the elementary schools in the county, and I just brought some examples. March is Read Across America, has Read Across America Week, and you can see we have the Cat in the Hat, we have the Fox, Pete the Cat. So we have our programmer who goes and reads a story and does a programmer, and then we try to take a staff member dressed in a suit to go on too. This one is Hilton's. This one is Carla, our programmer, and Abby Fox, that's at Shoemaker. And on this side is Yuma, and that was Read Across America with Dr. Seuss. This is Nicholsville. They went to Nicholsville and Shoemaker for after-school programs, and they painted rocks. that was a big hit. They made ladybugs. And then this one is at Shoemaker, and that's Pete the Cat program. I think they went to Weber City yesterday. And here's just more of the painting for the rocks. We have a program called 1,000 Things Before Kindergarten. In this area, we have a lot of free preschool, Head Start, kindergarten readiness programs, and then we have some paid programs. And this program is really good for those folks in the middle that don't qualify for the free stuff because they make too much money, but they don't have enough extra to pay for the paid things. So this program is kindergarten readiness. They have 1,000 things. As they do their little things they're supposed to do, they get checked off. They get prizes when they meet milestones. And then when they hit 1,000 things, they actually get a medal. It's a real medal, just like an Olympian would get. And I thought, kids won't like that, but they love it. So they proved me wrong. The kids just beam when they get those medals. And on this side, we have ABC Mouse for free. And we have another database called Tumblebooks, and I'm going to show you those in a few minutes. But all those are free, and the counties, the school systems have a little link that they can go to. So the kids can use it at school with the school link, and then at home, they can use it at home with the library link. So those are things that the library provides. Here's Baby Sprouts. We have 0 to 2-year-old programs called Baby Sprouts. We have 3 to 5-year-old programs called Little Pines, and K through 7 or 8 as Trailblazers after school. The programmers in Scott County are great. Here they're making sheep and they're making tractors. And the parents stay in there, and the parents get so excited, and they help the students, and that helps them learn even more. Here's the Baby Sprouts. On this side on the right, it was the coolest thing. They took a piece of cardboard, took shaving cream, and made a sheep, and then they had little plastic shears, and they have to shear the sheep and take the shaving cream off of it. A lot of the things we work with is eye-hand coordination, recognizing letters, recognizing numbers, all kinds of things. 30 years ago, I was a children's programmer. We didn't focus on education at all, and now they really do. They learn numbers, they learn how to write their name, they learn colors, how to use scissors. On the left side, we have a little turkey, and we have colored balls, and the kids get to feed the turkey, and they have to put the yellow ball in the yellow hole and things like that, so that helps them learn the colors. Up at the top, they had made a scarecrow, so that helps them practice the coloring and the cutting skills and gluing skills. More scissor use, and up at the top, they're working on the number 4, and you can tell some of them are dressed up as pirates. for a month in advance, they know what the program's going to be about. And a lot of times the kids will dress up to match the program. First Responders Day. All the branches celebrate First Responders Day, and the police departments and the fire departments are so great to either let us come to them or they come to us. And as you can tell, this was Hilton's Fire Department for celebrating First Responders Day. We try to do it with the October fire so they can learn what to do in case of a fire. At the end of the year, our little guys that are going on into kindergarten will have an actual graduation, and you can see some of them have their 1,000 Things medals on. We do pictures, they practice, they make it just like a big graduation. The town is really cool. They let us come and trick or treat. As you can see, some of the businesses and local offices do that, and the parents walk with the children and they go trick or treat. Here's some of the pictures. A lot of the people, the picture on the bottom, you can tell dress up when they do give the candy out. Another thing we do is a story walk, and you can tell the business windows. They put a piece of the book in each window, so that way, especially at Christmas time, the person reads the book and they're looking through the store's window to see their products. So hopefully it helps those stores sell products, and it helps us get recognized with the story in each of the windows. Here's our Trailblazers group. They made a farm here, and each person did a different piece of the farm and put it together and made a big farm. They're the kindergarten through 8th grade. I think they're racing cars in the top picture, I'm not sure. And in the bottom, they clipped a canvas tarp to the chairs and made a tent and had a little story time under the tent. This year we had a little bit of extra state funding, so we got to do an end of the year program for the Little Pines, Baby Sprouts, and our Trailblazers. And this guy is Steve Summers. He was a magician that came, and he was wonderful. He used storybooks and did magic tricks with the storybooks, and the kids absolutely loved it. This is summer reading. Every summer we have a 6-week reading program. A lot of studies say that if kids don't read during the summer, it hurts them academically, so we offer this reading program. It's 6 weeks long. This little guy was called Rocking and Reading with Leonardo, and you can see the little girl had such a good time, and we always do these at the park if we can. He's coming back this summer. This one is Bright Star. It was at the elementary school here, and they're coming back this summer as well with Peter Pan. He was really good about getting the kids up and acting in the play too. We had a drummer last year. They brought all these drums and musical instruments and rain things and let the kids and parents play. But he's not coming back. We replaced him this year with Larson's Lizards. So this year the kids will be able to hold the animals in their hands and touch them and stuff. So it's a new program we're doing. And then the Bubble Brigade will be back as well. This is the last day of summer reading. We were out at the park, and you can see the parents and the kids all had a really big water fight to end summer reading. And that's that. And we have these things for the folks in the community. Like if somebody can't get to the library, we mail these to them. They fill out the little card inside, and they mail it to us. We mail them the books they asked for, and we even send them the postage and the things to send it back to us. So if you have elderly folks or folks that can't get out, this is books by mail. And then I was going to show you our webpage. If you go to research and go down to all databases, these databases are provided through the state library except for 3. We pay for Heritage Quest, Tumble Books, and ABC Mouse. But Help Now, Job Now, and Vet Now, all 3 of those you can sign in with an account, and there's a live tutor from 2 to 10. It helps kids with homework, it helps folks write resumes, it helps veterans find services. All of those are really good. You have to have your library card. The weird thing about our databases, where we're so close to Tennessee and Kentucky and West Virginia, some of the databases are set up to where if you have a Virginia IP address, it goes straight to it for free. You don't even have to have your library card. But if you have an out-of-state IP address, you have to have your library card. And in some of the databases, you have to have your library card. And if it asks for a PIN, it's the last 4 digits of your card. If you live in Virginia, work in Virginia, own land in Virginia, or go to school in Virginia, you can get a free Virginia library card. Okay, the next section is called Research. The other way. Oh, my bad, sorry. There's Explorer for high school students. This is a database where high school kids can go on. They can get magazines, academic journals, reference books, any kind of thing they can research. It's on there. It's peer reviewed, very good for college kids and high school kids. Okay. Read is a database for folks struggling to read or learning to speak English. And then there's our elementary school database. This is geared to elementary school kids. It's picture-based, so you can search with words or you can search with pictures. If you click on it, it has like different pictures. So if you want to learn about a bird, you can click on the bird picture, that kind of thing. And the schools can use all these databases at school, okay? The next three is Ancestry, Family Search, and Heritage Quest. You can use all these at home, but if you use Family Search in the library, you get more information. So all three of those are for genealogy. The next two are novel lists. This is kind of like if you like Stephen King, what do you read next? Or if you want to read a book about dogs or cats, what do I read next? So it's divided up into kindergarten through 8th grade and an adult. Okay, the next one is transparent language. This is kind of like the Rosetta Stone. You can get on here and learn 110 languages, sign languages even on here. It has teaching things, so like if a Spanish teacher wants to get some help with teaching Spanish, they have teacher things on there as well. And there's our ABC Mouse. I really love this. It's really great for preschool, but it goes up to 8 years old. A lot of the schools are using this to help kids read. Teachers can get on here and even make lesson plans and things like that using the teacher section of some of these. Okay, Digital Learn is really cool. It's for new users to computers, especially like if you're 50 and you've never used a computer in your life, you can go here. It teaches you how to do a basic search, how to use a mouse, how to buy an online plane ticket, how to be safe online. And it's videos, and the little person talks to you and you get to see the videos and everything. The next one is Universal Class. You have to have your library card for this one. It has over 300 classes on it, and a lot of local businesses use this for like professional development. It has business, accounting, it has crafts, hobbies, telemedicine, and the classes are divided up into like 6 or 10 classes. It'll tell you how many classes, how many tests, how long it should take you to do it, and you do the whole class online, and then it gives you continuing education credits for that. So a lot of businesses like to, or even offices like to use it for continuing education. The next thing is legal forms. These are Virginia legal forms. They are updated yearly when the laws are updated. You can get, like if you want to sell a used car, you can get a bill of sale. You can get an invoice. You can get things you need to do for a will or divorces. It covers all the legal forms that you could possibly want is on here. The next thing is Day by Day. This is really good for homeschoolers. It takes an activity every day. It gives you a book to read, gives you a video to watch, a craft to do, and activities to do around the community. And then the next one is for businesses, and these are short videos and summaries of books and articles for folks in the business world. And it gives you the username and password you use on there. And then the last one is WorldCat. That's just like all the libraries in the country are on WorldCat. Go to services. We check out laptops, iPads, Chromebooks, hotspots. We have a privacy booth. These things are really cool. They're like a telephone booth. You go in, college students use them to do online tests. Our GED students use them to do their tests and their homework quite often. They can do telemed in there. Folks can do online job interviews in there. And then it just tells you how to get your library card and about the mailbox library for those folks. If you go to borrow on the other side, we have books online that you can borrow. You can either look on it on here or look it up on the Libby app that you can download. And if you go down to streaming, we have Just for Kids. This is homework help. It reads books to them. It's just another database. And there's your Tumble books. And ABC Mouse is there. And then on the other one, it was called, if you go back one page to borrow, if you go to downloadables, we have, there's the ebooks plus the Libby app, and then Maxter is 5,000 magazines you can look at online for free. And that's it. Is there any questions? I'd really like to thank you all for your support of the library and the Friends group and the community. Everybody has been so wonderful in the library here.
You mentioned the Friends of the Library group. Is that a local group?
It is local group. It's, they meet, how often do they meet?
Monthly.
Monthly. If you go to programs, and go to the Gate City one, it's under Scott County at the bottom.
How many members do you have?
There's probably 6 or 7 people that come regularly. It fluctuates.
And they do small fundraisers or the large ball fundraiser. They sell ornaments at Christmas. One time, I'm not sure if it's this library, but sometimes they'll bring in photographers and take pictures of pets and charge like $5 or $10. So they raise money all throughout the year, and it can go towards children's programs or it can go to buying automatic doors. It's just, they're separate from the library. They have a president, a secretary, a treasurer, and they just help us. Whatever we need, they try to work for it.
So if someone wanted to join that group, they just come to the library?
They just come to the library.
Yeah, actually, the next meeting is tomorrow evening at 5:30.
Tomorrow evening at 5:30.
Anyone as well.
And if you go to where it said programs, it should be on that calendar for Scott County there. And all the programs are listed there. The Friends of the Library meetings are listed there. It's all there. It's a great group. They have a good time and they work really hard.
Thank you all for all you're doing. Thanks for keeping us good.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments, questions? We'll move on to our next one. New business is ratify letter of support for Lynn Wisco Planning District's Appalachian Regional Commission grant. Mr. Diggins, do you want to give us a little background on this?
Ms. Starnes wrote the letter, and it's part of the Appalachian Regional Commission that encourages business growth throughout the region that we're involved in. So the last project was in Norton. If your letter should be on your tablet. I have a hard copy here if anybody wants to look at it. Ms. Starnes sent this letter on February the 7th.
All right, and we'll just need to ratify that. Do I have a motion to ratify this letter of support for this grant?
I'll make a motion we ratify this letter of support for Lynn Wisco.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Next, we have a letter of support for Scott County Telephone's PD grant. This is for them to kind of up their infrastructure and be able to provide 10 gigabits of bandwidth. That's something that a lot of cities don't even have at this point. So that's fantastic that they're able to do this. So do I have a motion to ratify this letter of support?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Then we have the confirmation declaration of emergency and declare end of a local emergency for the February flood event. There's a copy of that on your tablet. It just states that we declared a local emergency on Sunday, February 16th, and then that emergency was ended at March 5th. Do I have a motion to confirm and approve this letter?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Castile and Michelle. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and then finally on new business, there is the 6-year plan discussion. This is mostly just to start the conversation on what roads that we'd like to see added to the 6-year plan. Last year, I don't think that we got to add any because of the lack of funding, but this year it appears that there will be funding to add some additional roads, so we need to start thinking about that. Mr. Dingus, do you have any further details on that?
Your roads will need to be finalized at your April or May meeting. Since this is the March meeting, I would imagine that might be May. If you want to think about the roads you want to discuss and add, and you can talk about it more at your April meeting and decide which roads you want to send to VDOT and what order.
And there's a criteria that we have to go by, correct?
Right. Yeah, we can send that to you.
Will you send that to us in an email, please?
And then, you know, you'll come up with a list of roads, and then VDOT will take a look at those roads and go down based on their funding and put them on the 6-year plan that can be funded. So no roads are put on the 6-year plan now that don't have the funding behind it. So like last year, like Mr. Manning said, none of them were at it because there wasn't any funding. But, you know, hopefully we can get some roads on there. Unlike what people are used to in the past, where roads were just put on a 6-year plan and the funding wasn't there. When they're put on the 6-year plan, that funding is earmarked for that road. So it's more of a true, it's going to get that situation now.
It's not us putting them on there because we want to win easy political.
Right, right. But you do have the opportunity to put in roads that you want to see in your district, and then the board will vote on what's 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on.
Thank you for that. Supervisors, be thinking about that before our next meeting. We'll go over everything then, and I'd love to hear some proposals from everyone. And then in May, we'll finalize the vote on that, if that's good. All right, on to bookkeeping item.
We have item F, Mr. Lamb.
I forgot you. Sorry.
Good morning. I think it's still morning. I'm Lana Mullins. I'm the Director of Department of Social Services, and I know most of you, I've been here before, but I'd like to speak with you this morning about our auxiliary grant program within the Department of Social Services, and we currently have a budget deficit in that program. The auxiliary grant program, basically what that program is that's for our aged, blind, and disabled population, and that is payments made for their assisted living. So this payment is for the specific purpose of paying those assisted living needs. Their Social Security or SSI payments also go into that, and this grant pays the balance of those assisted living facilities. This is different from Medicaid because Medicaid cannot pay for room and board, so Medicaid does not pay for assisted living facilities, only the auxiliary grant program. To provide just a little bit of history, the legal base for the auxiliary grant program began with the Social Security Act in 1972, and the SSI program was implemented in 1974. At that point in time, states were given the option of whether the federal government would administer the auxiliary grant program or the state. And at that time, in 1974, Virginia opted that the states would administer the auxiliary grant program. So it is code-based. In the Virginia Code, it's Article 9, Section 51.5-160. The AG program is funded by a combination of state and local funds. There's no federal funding in auxiliary grants. The state funds comprise 80% of the funds we receive, and our locality makes up the 20% match. State funds are authorized by the General Assembly, and of course the local funds are authorized by the local governing board, which is the Board of Supervisors. And this is always in our DSS budget each year that we submit. I'm speaking with you today because we do have a deficit this year in this budget. This is due to an increase in the caseload and also a payment increase to auxiliary, to the assisted living facilities, which was mandated by the Virginia General Assembly. Scott County's FY25 budget for the AG program, the AG's auxiliary grant, we call it AG, so for the AG program was $400,000. And to date, we have spent $458,345. And this is actually $60,000 more at this point of the year than we spent total last year. So we have 3 months remaining in our budget year. The state has allocated an additional $184,000 to complete this fiscal year for these auxiliary grant payments. And our county would be responsible for the 20% match of that, which is $37,000. Just to let you know about the county's aging population, we've had a steady increase in that. In 2010, 19% of our population was age 65 and over. In 2022, it was 25%, and the most recent data from 23 is 26%. So we are steadily increasing in our aging population, and that does not count in the disabled folks that also receive this. On average, we have about 50 individuals that receive an auxiliary grant. We currently have applications pending, and as I said earlier, we do have 3 months remaining. So this is an area of our budget that we cannot control because it's based on, it's based on eligibility criteria and the assistance program. It is the only assistance program within DSS that does have a local match. So in closing, I, with the support of my local board, am requesting that the county allocate an additional $37,000 to meet that county match of 20% in order to draw down $184,000 of state funds. There is a small margin of cushion in that request, so because we do not know how many applications we'll receive for the next 3 months. Also, we look at this each month, and if there are any local dollars within the DSS budget remaining, we will absorb any of that cost that we can. But there are limited local funds actually in our DSS budget, as the majority of those are state funds. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you all would have.
Ms. Mullins, does your FY26 budget request reflect that increase, or is it
Yes,
still
it
the
does.
400,000?
I actually increased that to $700,000, which is a margin that, we should not spend, but we did increase that substantially. Our county match last year for the $400,000 was $80,000, so $80,000 is what's already in our local budget for this year.
And when do you need these funds appropriated by? Is this like a I need it yesterday kind of thing, or is it?
No, I mean, we're watching this each month. We have spent, $58,000 more than the budget. However, there are enough local funds to match that for a couple months. But I didn't want to get to the end of the budget year. And after discussing with my board, we wanted to be very transparent about this need. We could get to the end of the budget year and it could be a $20,000 difference versus a $37,000 difference. But I just wanted the board to be very aware of this, and I know with local funds and the budgets, a lot of that is completed through a transfer of funds on the computer, and it's not like an actual, I need a check for $37,000. So I think it's more about be aware that we could have to pay $37,000 more local money than we intended to. And hopefully that makes sense.
Makes sense. Thank you. Any other questions?
There's no actions taken on this today.
No actions taken today. I don't, unless you need something.
I mentioned earlier about the PIP program.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to add anything to that?
Well, and I did speak with Kevin and let him know, and he was aware of the PIP program. And the PIP program is basically a heating and cooling program that the state sponsors, in which if you have heating needs and you have a cutoff notice and you meet the eligibility requirements, you can come to the local DSS and apply to receive assistance for that. Any additional questions? Thank you. And I apologize I have to ask for this.
We know how it is.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to bookkeeping items then. Since we're on the topic of money.
Please appropriate $80,000 to capital project funds, building construction maintenance shop project 1000-9400-408320-08027 from the Community Work Program Fund 1325 for monies received and deposited at the Treasurer's Office, and appropriate $325 to Electoral Board Election Official Services 1000-13100-403148- and $1,589.41 to Electoral Board's printing of election ballots 1000-13100-403510 for reimbursement received and deposited at the Treasurer's Office, and appropriate $20,261.68 to emergency services disaster expenses 1000-35500-405848 for an insurance claim received and deposited at the Treasurer's Office. And that's all the appropriations.
Do I have a motion to approve these appropriations?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Everybody in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we have quite a few appointments this time around. You want to go?
You have the CPMT and the Housing Authority that was carried over from last meeting. They were advertised and no applicants were received.
Okay. Okay, we have two for Public Service Authority. Two positions, three applicants.
You have Eddie Skeen has been serving for the first one, and Joe Horton has been serving on the second one. They both reapplied, and you have one additional applicant, Kevin Barnett.
How do y'all want to go about filling these
I'll
two
nominate
positions?
Kevin Barnett.
Okay.
I'll nominate Joe Ward.
Okay.
I'll nominate Eddie Skeens.
Okay. All those need a second? Okay. All right. We'll go into voting on this. I guess we'll just do, how did we do the last one when we had more applicants than we had?
The one name, and then we all went around. Do a show of hands.
Yeah.
Do a show of hands?
You can vote for two. Is that correct?
Yeah, we'll do one at a time, because I think that got confusing last time. It was confusing for me.
That's what I'm asking. You can only vote for two people. Is that correct?
Right.
Right. Just two? Yeah, there's just two positions up there.
Yeah.
All right.
You want me to?
In the order they were nominated.
Yes, let's do the order they were nominated. So that was Kevin, Joe, and then Eddie, right? All right. Votes for Kevin then, if you want to take it away. Oh, show of hands.
Kevin Barnett, show of hands, please. Joe Horton, show of hands. I see 5, 6.
Everybody? Just Joe?
No. So set.
Did you vote for Joe?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody?
And Eddie Skeens, show of hands.
6.
6. So I have Kevin Barnett with 2 votes, Joe Horton with 7, and Eddie Skeens with 6.
All right, so it looks like it'll be Joe Horton and Eddie Skeen. All right, Recreation Advisory Board for District 6.
Ashley Kinser has been serving, and she did reapply.
Okay.
She's your only applicant.
All right. do I have a nomination for Ash?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that nomination cease and we vote by acclamation.
Do we have a nomination?
Let's have a nomination.
Ashley Kinzer.
Somebody needs a nominator, though.
I'll nominate.
Okay.
Didn't
And then I'll say, I'll make a motion that all nominations cease and we vote by acclamation.
All right, everybody in favor?
Need a second.
I'll second that.
Second. Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's the end of it.
Yes.
Okay, we'll get that right eventually, I promise. Recreation Advisory Board, District 5.
Curtis Wesley Adams has been serving, and he did reapply. There are no other applicants.
All right, do I hear a nomination for Curtis?
I'll nominate.
I'll make a motion nomination cease and we vote by acclamation.
All in favor?
I'll second
Need a
that.
second?
Oh, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. We'll get there. All right, 11, County Attorney's Report. Ms. Caitlin?
You have my report in your packet, so I don't have anything to add today. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, County Administrator, or I guess we could say Acting County Administrator here soon. Mr. Bill Dingus.
On your claims, you have your financial reports on your folder and your green sheets. General fund balance is $18,250,245.05. The schools are still yet to pull down approximately $10 million of that. You see your comparison sheets that compares to the last 4 years. And again, taking account of what the schools still may pull down. Amount of the early claims is $500,000 or $524,380.53. In addition to the claims today of $70,950.30, with a total claims for this month of $595,330.83.
Do I have a motion that we pay the bills?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The only other thing I have is a report given to me by our emergency management coordinator, Jeff Bricky, on some of the damage that occurred during the last flood. We had, a significant flood. A river got to around 28 feet, which is a significant riverine flood. But I'm happy to say, due to the mitigation efforts and our floodplain management over the last couple of decades, that we didn't have any river effects on homes. So that's good. I'm sure there was some agricultural buildings and incidental like that. However, we did have 5 structures that got water in them, and this was from mountain drainage, mountain streams, backed up culverts. A lot of that was due to the effects of the hurricane and the large woody debris that's laying on the grounds. So it changed the hydrology a lot in our county. Out of the 5, 2 of the homes were considered significant damage, which means that the damage to the home is probably more than 50% of the value of the home. So those individuals are working with DVN and so on. We currently don't have a federal declaration for that flood, but in talking with FEMA, there's a push because of the totality in the whole area beyond us, that they may lump that event in with the hurricane disaster that's already federal. So when that happens, we'll make sure these people are in contact with FEMA and maybe they can get some more help. There were several other driveways, private driveways that were washed out, and Jeff's been working with the state and these people to get what help they can.
Was one of those houses that was got water damage, was that Lennis Bagley's?
Foot.
Yeah, I know him as Foot myself.
Yeah, in Moore Hall, that culvert that goes under the railroad track and the highway stopped up and affected a couple of houses up that drainage.
Right, I've never seen it in my life that it's ever, as the railroad, after it went across the road, the railroad used as a dam. And I've never noticed that.
You rarely see the floodwaters over the railroad track. You know, that's happening, something.
Well,
going on.
You know where I live, but I watch that railroad does a water line out on the roads up and down through there. But I can never say I've ever seen it to the railroads in my life. I've seen it close, but never seen it.
United Way and the Red Cross and Mr. Bricky's been coordinating some efforts to help Mr. Bailey and those other people as best we can, and we'll continue to do so. I talked to Mr. Bailey one day this week over in the building official's office, and we're trying to work with him so he can have a place to stay and work with the best we can.
Anything that you can get done for, I've got to call him Foot, that's what I've known him.
That's all I
call him. And anything that you can do for him, I appreciate it.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right, moving on, we have, I'm sorry, were there any other questions, comments, anything? Moving on to County Department report, Ms. Brittany Robinson is here with Scott County Tourism.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so I've got a little PowerPoint presentation to kind of go along with what I wanted to talk about today. So I want to give you an update of things that have been going on our tourism end from November to March. Taking a look at some notable events that we've had in the past couple of months. This is kind of historically a slower season for tourism because of the weather and winter weather and things like that. But we did have a lot of holiday events going on, so I've shared some images from some of those things, which included our Santa train, lighting of the tunnel, all of our county parades and things of that nature. We did have 3 new businesses that came into play in the last couple months: Peak Physique in Gate City, Edison in Gate City, and Mountain Java Coffee Company in Duffield. So being able to share some of those things from those businesses. Some notable mentions that we've had in terms of press. First one being a really big deal back at the end of October, which was on NBC Nightly News from Natural Tunnel State Park, featuring one of their park rangers and their special in-chroma vision, which was amazing. Great publicity for Natural Tunnel. 2 other things that we had in the Kingsport Times News, one of those being Brookhaven Farms. I pitched a story to Mike Steele on Brookhaven because they're doing regenerative farming, which is kind of a buzzy word for right now. Jake's doing some incredible stuff down there in terms of his regenerative farming and meat. And so they did a story on that. And then Mountain View, I call it Jimmy's, but Mountain View Market, they came and did a feature for them, their family-owned business, before Black Friday sales. So I've tried over the course of the past few months to highlight more of our small businesses because we don't have a lot going on in terms of tourism. Carterfold takes a break in the winter. You know, it's dreary, cold outside, and a lot of people out hiking and stuff. So I've tried to kind of go across the county in the last couple of months and really kind of showcase some of our small businesses. So one thing I wanted to note over the last couple of months is this is going back from October 27th through, I think it's the end of February, our social stats. And this is something that I was really excited to see. So I'm going to explain a few of these. And this is talking about Facebook, which is where we have our largest following. We've amassed 907,000 views on Facebook, which is a huge increase. It doesn't show the increase, but it's a big increase. Again, considering our down months. So we're getting close to 1 million views. That was kind of my goal. So we're reaching 1 million unique views. Our reach has gone up by 36%. So we're at close to 400,000 in terms of our reach, which is a really big deal. Content interactions are up by 5%. We've had over 16,000 content interactions, which are likes, shares, comments. And the only thing that's down, which makes sense, is our link clicks, and that's because I've not done any sponsored content, so I've not shared any links. So that's really exciting for me to see that all of our numbers are up, and that's with 100% organic reach. So none of that has been sponsored, none of that has been paid advertisements, that's pure organic reach. So to have close to 1 million views, to be reaching 400,000 people, and to have those kind of numbers without having any sort of paid sponsorship is a really big deal. So I'm excited about that. I like to see that trajectory, and I'm hoping that's going to continue in our busy months. So again, link clicks are down, but we've not shared any links. We've not done any sponsored content yet. So I wanted to share, I'm hoping this works. Daniel, I might need you to click on this in just a second. So I wanted to share some examples of some of the social media content that I've been sharing. Again, one of the things that I've tried to do is focus heavily on video content and reels, because that is something that is trending. I don't think that's going away. Short form videos are incredibly popular. And the biggest thing, the most exciting thing about this for me is this is free. So all of this is stuff that I'm not paying for, and it's being able to get our word out. Again, I have tried to showcase a lot of our small businesses in some of our social media posts kind of during our off season. So thank you. So my goal has been to leave more of a digital footprint for Scott County, and this is, I didn't put this stat up there, but we're close to 1,000 new followers too in the course of the last several months, which is a really, again, a good statistic considering that everything we've done has been organic and nothing has been paid media, so that's always a good thing. Oh goodness, there we go. Okay, so this is a corporate marketing update. We have used them for the last several years since Pam has been or was here in terms of maintaining our website. Just a little update, this was stuff that was put in place before I came. This is the last wrap up of the Bounty Trail. There is a 2-minute video that's going to be shown on in Lansford, Virginia at their Welcome Center. It's our Bounty Trail video again. It's going to be running April through June. And it also includes a QR code for people to take a look at, and we're listing or placing our Bounty Trail brochures there as well. This also includes a Facebook marketing. This is paid. This will be the Bounty Trail Facebook marketing campaign that will run May to July. It's 30-second targeted ads. Very similar to a campaign that Pam had put in place from September to October, and it produced those results there, which kind of show you their reach, the impression that they got, users delivered, total clicks, 12,000 I think is what I see, link clicks. I'm 100% not opposed to running sponsored or paid content, but my goal when I came into this role was to try to not spend money for a year and see where I sat on budget and see what I could do organically. Obviously, I'm spending, if I advertise in the local newspapers and things like that, but I wanted to kind of get a foothold for what financially the picture could look like and focus more on video content, because I feel like that's a really important aspect to focus on.
Welcome to Scott County, Virginia, where you can explore how sustainable agriculture thrives. Experience regenerative farming with grass-fed beef, lamb, and pasture-raised poultry. Join us for seasonal fun. Sunflower seeds, pumpkin patches, and corn mazes. Savor the richness of our creamery's grade A cream line whole milk. Taste the freshness of our family-owned farms. To plan your visit, go to ScottCountyBountyTrail.com. We are sowing traditions and harvesting memories.
So that is the video that's going to run on Facebook targeted ads. Again, we're paying for that through corporate marketing. And that was produced by them, and that was directed by Pam. She put all that stuff together, so I'm really thankful for all of her work on that. Some upcoming events. So what I have now is a master list. It's a Google Doc that I've shared with folks from our tourism committee. I've got a guy from Kingsport Times News that I share this with, and then I have a couple contacts from opposite ends of the county that kind of help me keep this updated. So it's a great master list, and it helps us keep up with everything. It helps me know where I should send people, who I could do stories on, and things like that. So a lot of different things that we've got planned. Of course, these are going to be our busy months, so I'm excited about that. This is something that I'm incredibly excited about, and I feel bad because Scott and Greg Urban are not here to talk about this with me, but we are planning in the very early and loose stages, but Scott went ahead and gave me permission to share this. Something we haven't named yet, but right now we're just calling it the Makers and Growers Festival. I would ask you to imagine Meadowview Home and Garden Farm Show mixed with Mountain Empire Home and Craft Days, and that's kind of what we hope this is going to be. So this came about actually last summer. I did a tour of the vocational school with Greg Urban, and I was kind of blown away. I didn't realize that our vocational school did the things that they do. It was incredible. And so, you know, as I was walking through the school, I'm like, Greg, you have to get these kids selling their products. Like, this is incredible, the work that they're doing. You need to be able to have a way to let these kids share their products, but also teach them about entrepreneurship and being able to run their own businesses. And so Scott and I were having a conversation about some of the same thing, and he's like, you know, I really feel bad for our Bounty Trail folks because the grants ended. Last year, those folks were able to participate in the Meadowview Home Show. So this year we wanted to have a place for them that they could still showcase their goods. And so we kind of came up with this idea that we have this collaborative effort that we're going to showcase what's happening at the vocational school, but also give our makers and our growers an opportunity to share what they're doing. So we see it as kind of a large community festival where we highlight those people in our county that are making and doing things. So places for artisans to set up booths, and also places for our makers and growers to be able to showcase the things that they're doing. So we've got it tentatively planned for September 26th and 27th. We're hoping to have food trucks. We're hoping to, and I don't want to speak on behalf of Scott, but the Clinch Mountain Food Festival, I want to say, is kind of what he called this, but we want to be able to have a dinner or a lunch in the afternoon that features food that is 100% grown or harvested in the county. So a big focus on showcasing and promoting our agriculture folks, but also giving our artisans an opportunity to be able to share what they're doing as well. So we're really, really excited about that. Like I said, it's hard to really explain what it's going to be. I told the leadership class last night, I said, if Mountain Empire Home Craft Days and Farm and Garden Show had a baby, this is what it would be. So that's what we're going to call it for right now. So this is just kind of a little update on my end as far as things that I've been doing, promoting the county in terms of speaking engagements. I had a couple of engagements in November and December with the Rotary Club and Chamber of Commerce. February, I spoke with Bristol, Virginia Rotary Club. We had probably 50 to 70 people at that meeting. I shared this last night with the Horizons class. I did a presentation highlighting some of our bigger venues. Of course, everybody knew the Carter Fold, but I was a little disheartened to ask folks if they had ever been in Nicholsville, or if they'd ever been in Natural Tunnel, or if they'd ever been fishing on the Clinch, and there were very few people that knew what I was talking about. So I've got my work cut out before me. We want to make sure that regionally people know who we are and what we have to offer, and they know about our businesses. I'm also scheduled to speak this fall for the College of Older Adults in the Abington Higher Ed Center. So the last thing I wanted to mention was the Scott County Entrepreneurial Group meeting. I'm so excited about this. This is going to be tomorrow night. It's our very first meeting. I know I talked about this, I think, in the first speaking that I did with you guys. This was kind of one of my big goals whenever I took this role on, and that was to create a network where we had entrepreneurs kind of modeled off of what UVA Wise does with the Nest, and I think the other name of, or the other thing they have is Opportunity Southwest Virginia, where they have a group that basically creates and supports entrepreneurs and business owners in Scott County, whether it's helping them with marketing, just connecting them with one another for support. So our initial meeting is tomorrow. I've got about 8 people from across the county that have brick and mortar stores or businesses, and I'm inviting them to just have a roundtable discussion up front first to say, what are some things that you could use help with? This idea kind of came from a discussion that I had with Jeff Arrington, and we talked about how many incredible business owners and entrepreneurs that we have in the county, but they were all spread out and they weren't really connected. And a lot of those folks didn't really understand the opportunities and the resources that we have in the county through the Chamber of Commerce, through small business development. So I'm going to let this group kind of, it's very fluid right now, hopefully try to take shape in the next couple of days and see what this could be. So I'll be really excited to report back the next meeting and the next presentation, and hopefully some good news to share about that. So I think that's it. Does anyone have any questions?
Great job, Brittany.
You've been quite busy.
A little bit.
One thing you and I have talked before is organizing the nightly lodging people.
Absolutely.
We have about 20 operators in the
Yes.
county, and a lot of people don't even know there's places to stay in Scott County.
Yes.
So,
Well, and that was one of the things that I did. I know I covered yours, Rachel Burke's, and Alicia Kern's Airbnb. And my goal, my long-range goal, if I could duplicate myself, would be to create, and I'm still on my radar whenever I can completely get all this other stuff intact. But one of my goals is to start a YouTube channel. I think I told you about that at the last meeting. I'd like to have a YouTube presence where we dump some of these longer range videos. I'd also like to have a Scott County Stays, Scott County Plays YouTube channel, and within those stays, I'd love to be able to dump our YouTube or our Airbnbs in that. So we have kind of a place that people could look to see all of the lodging offers that we have. For right now, I've shared those 3 on social media, directed people to check them out, to go book them and things like that. So.
you mentioned Clinch River. I told you I had a guide with me last year. He booked 50 trips on the Clinch.
Yeah.
He's a fishing guide.
Yeah.
And he's done the same again this year. So
That's
he's bringing
awesome.
people from North Carolina and South Carolina for 50
awesome.
trips.
That is
And he's scheduled May through August on probably the Clinch River, but he loves it.
Yeah, and I was talking with a group the other day about this. It's a little difficult sometimes from a tourism perspective to really nail things down, because just as soon as I start making a 3-day stay and play itinerary, Creation Kingdom Zoo moves their operations, and restaurants and things like that of that nature kind of dissipate. So it's a little challenging to kind of steer around that. But I have had, from the Nicholsville perspective, I have one of their members from the Anabaptist community coming to our meeting tomorrow to talk, to kind of join the entrepreneur group. So I'm excited to kind of rein them in and be able to showcase some of the things that they're doing in Nicholsville too. Any other questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Moving right along to Board of Supervisors comments, requests, and recommendations. I can start this one off, and then I'll open it to anyone else. You all have probably got the email from Mr. Blake Lawson down in Duffield. I don't know where you all set on this or what you all think about it as far as them requesting that we abandon a portion of the Fraleytown Road there. I'd like a little bit more information about it myself, and I can try to get us some more information by next meeting, if that's good with you all. I don't know that there's any board action that we would need to take right now.
Mr. Chairman, I tried to do this 2 years ago. I had talked to people down there, and they wanted it closed at that time. And I was told that they couldn't do it because that was a shortcut from Purchase to the industries in Duffield.
Interesting.
That's what, it's been 2 years, but I think it's VDOT and other people told me that.
Well, VDOT actually recommended him talk to us, so I'm not sure who's passing the buck where on this one, but I've tried to get my buck this month and kind of have something a little bit more cohesive about that. And maybe we can have Mr. Lawson come and talk to to the board during public expression. I think that'd be a good use of our time. That's all for me. Anybody else?
I'd just like to thank the staff and the board for all they do with this. And how's the advertisement going for youngsters?
We'll talk about that in closed session.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right. We do have activity on it. That's good. I feel like that's positive. So that's all I want to say on that outside of closed.
I've got to statements, please. Earlier, when we went into public session or public comments, I had made a motion, but I want to clarify that motion with everyone to see if we're all on board with it, okay? I asked for the time limit for public comment to be 5 minutes max, but I want to also make sure that that's for when we have public hearings during the public comments as well.
Okay. And that's a permanent change too. I think there was some
To follow.
Yeah.
From now on.
Yeah.
To follow.
All right.
I think 5 minutes, 3 minutes,
We gave them 3
just
minutes
don't give,
before,
you
but I
just
think
stayed
5
enough
minutes.
that really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Five's a good number. Yeah, and that would be for every public expression and including public hearings.
Yes.
Okay, in perpetuity. All right. So I take it as you're making that motion. Do I have a second on that motion? Danny seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right.
And I have one more comment, please. I've had some phone calls this past month regarding road issues that I've helped people with in regards to VDOT. I have finally contacted, it's really hard for me sometimes with the way I was working at my job to do any contacting with VDOT because I was working day shifts 12 hours and I'm not getting out of there until 6:30 or after. So now I'm back on to shift work and I've been on my 7 days off. I have contacted VDOT yesterday and I will be in contact with Mr. Carter about McMurray Hollow Road, Miss Laughlin, also with Miss Lovelace and Mr. Harper. So I just want them to know that I will be in contact with them soon to let them know what I talked with VDOT with. And that's all I've got. Thank you.
I do have my usual VDOT update. I contacted Mr. Sumter a week prior to our meeting and asked if there's anything that he'd like me to share. Of course, everybody knows they've been working on storm damage. They have been in an emergency operations mode since the flood, so they were doing all that. They've got teams out doing permanent repair estimates. They have 8 sites requiring extensive repairs, and they'll have contractors working on those projects. They're working on gravel roads, blading, and gravel. The VDOT representative met with the landowner at Antler Springs Road to improve the school bus turnaround location. I did get a report from a school bus driver about overhanging trees over the roadway, and VDOT's going to address that. And for any bus drivers or law enforcement, whoever's on the road a lot, bus drivers, let me know if you have problems on your routes, and I'll be glad to help you out with that. Meetings attended. I don't know, there's been a lot of talk about this, but it's Ag Destination Center. Ms. Robertson and Mr. Dingus and myself have been involved in 2 or 3 meetings, most recently at the horse park, and that site is being considered for part of a regional plan for tourism, a destination center, and there's a consulting company in North Carolina that's doing some work on that now. So it looks like that area is going to be included in the master plan. Did you say that's a fair assessment?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mentioned earlier, Darrell Jeter, Larry Vickers, and I went to the regional jail. The superintendent for Southwest Virginia was there today. We were looking for opportunities, and weigh in, Darrell, to reduce the number of trips to the jail. or to the courthouse, and maybe reduce the cost. They thought that half the cases could be seen. They have video, they have 3 rooms for video. They can shoot video all over the United States, including here in Scott County. They felt like 50% of the cases could be done via video, which they thought would reduce the cost. Mr. East didn't know how it would affect their department. I think it would.
There wouldn't have to be a transfer in prisoners.
They were concerned. They said they do not like to leave the regional jail with inmates. They said that creates a risk. And plus cost, they have to bring in overtime people sometimes to do those transports. The superintendent, I can't remember his name.
Rick.
He's new.
Rick, what is his last name? Ashbrook or something like that.
He mentioned a transport vehicle that they had.
Yes.
That was, couldn't use because it's a diesel, and they don't have a diesel mechanic. But he offered it up to us, Scott County, at no charge. Did he say how many miles are on it?
He told me the other day at gym, but I never forgot it.
Is it a lot of miles?
No, I don't think it's that many. But I talked to Frida about it, or she was with him when I was talking to him. And if we've got a use for it, that's good. But if we don't have a use for it, we don't want to bring it in because we have to pay insurance. That costs money. If we have a real use for it, I don't know where Scott Service could use it or not. Do they have a vehicle bill?
They have a Tahoe, and I'm not sure what Shannon drives, but it's some sort of SUV.
They could get this in if they wanted.
It's a van, 15-passenger van.
Yeah. It's a diesel.
I believe he said it was in Abington.
Yes, it's at the Meadowview at the jail site.
But that seems to me like a pretty good offer, so it may not still be available, so.
Well, it was as of, when was I there last week.
Okay. But we're still planning more meetings. Judge Kilgore's name came up today. So as far as the regional jail and trying to reduce those costs, we're going to be pursuing that. So we'll be back on that. While we were down there that day, we stopped at the Pioneer Center. Concerns over the leaking roof, and we did get to tour that property. Also, next door at Appalachian Harvest, they are looking for local growers. Of course, they do about 1,200 to 1,500 food boxes per week. I heard on the news yesterday that they might see a cut in their budget.
Yeah, they're seeing a significant decrease in funding. That's part of the grants that they've frozen in Washington. They're classified as like waste, fraud, abuse. If y'all could, can contact your local representative and let's see if we can't get that back going, because that is a huge lifeline, not only for the citizens of this county, not only for people of Duffield, but it's regionally. It's great.
I believe the number I heard was $30,000 worth of produce a week that they were distributing. So they have an opportunity for local growers.
And these boxes contain healthy products like milk, hamburger meat, strawberries, lettuce, potatoes, sweet potatoes, good healthy nutritional things that folks really need. It's a really good program.
PSA, I attended the Scott County Firefighters Association in conjunction with the PSA Director, Mike Dishman, and member Joe Horton. We're working on trying to improve the communications and improving hydrant usability. Sometimes they don't get noticed when the hydrants are not working, so hopefully all that's going to work out. The 911 coordinator is going to be a big part of this. When the firefighter goes out to a house, they should be able to tell them this hydrant at this location will be the one you want to use, how much flow they'll have, and it helps them out a lot. So we had a real good meeting with that. PSA again, Yuma Sewer, Hilton Sewer, Scott County, Central Scott County Water is still in the bidding process, but if there's anyone that needs those services, sign up at the PSA office in Weber City. There's no cost if you sign up before the project starts. Lena Wisco update on the Fairview Flower Gap Water Project. One funding piece through the ARC, which is probably the primary piece, has been funded. So there's 2 other parts that have to be signed off on. It's going to service 24 houses.
Did you ever get any clarification on that? Because I remember we couldn't decide, are they coming over Flower Gap or are they extended the Fairview Water Project?
They're coming from Lee County into Scott County. They're going to take I think it's 3 houses in Scott County, but the money is going to be awarded to Lee County, and Lee County is going to put the line in and extend it into Scott County.
But they are for sure going to cover those 3 houses?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
is there any completion timelines for that? Or
no, they haven't got all the money yet, but
okay.
Dwayne told me that if they got the first phase of money, most of the time the second phase come with it pretty good.
APCA, that's a little bit mentioned here today on that. They're doing tax returns. I want to remind everybody at the Daniel Boone office, and also Dungannon has a location for free tax returns. There are some qualifications, but it's good service. The Virginia Department of Housing mobile loan bus is going to be at Weber City again on March 13th, and there's great incentives for first-time home buyers. Also working with the Virginia Department of Housing, Habitat for Humanity, the Charlottesville office, is rehabbing 13 units in Blueberry Hill and Dungannon. And they've got 3 units now for sale. They're going to cost less than $75,000. There's a meeting at the site planned with the Charlottesville people, along with the mobile loan and anyone else that wants to come. It's on March 13th at 2 o'clock at Dungannon at the Blueberry Hill property. This is the thing, APCA's working with the PIP program, and that's where people can get assistance on their electric bills. And I don't know all the details, but they can lock in like 10% of their household income, and their electric bill would not exceed that amount. But there are some qualifiers. That sounds like a good program. Legislative session in Richmond. Farm Bureau looks like made some progress. Gary Baker's not here today, but I know the part on the large animal vet scholarships was funded, that project. And Gary probably has some more updates on that. A couple of new residents we have in Scott County, Stephen and Jennifer Pike, that live over in the Rye Cove community. Steve, you may know, is the director of Spearhead Trails. And he got funded for $3.3 million in this year's legislative session in Richmond. So that was a bump up over last year. His wife, Jennifer, is a trade representative for the professional firefighters and also law enforcement. And she was able to get some additional benefits for the firefighters, sheriff's departments, including Scott County. We'll see some more benefits as a result of her work this year in Richmond. And that's all I have.
Anybody else? All right, we have a couple things for closed session. Let's see, prospective industry, Weber City, and personnel, county administrator. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, everybody seconds, I guess. We'll give it to Michelle. But the board hereby enters into closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-317 for A1 personnel county administrator and A5 prospective industry Weber City. Everybody vote by way of saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll do a little 10-minute recess before we go in there.